Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with some hashtag CB99 talks. Make sure y'all subscribe. Back with another little podcast episode on my post fight thoughts on Cris Cyborg versus Felicia Spencer. Just want to talk a little bit about the fight, just how I felt it went. Pretty much went the way I felt it would. Of course, I felt like it would have been a stoppage win, but just want to talk about the fight and just some other points too. Just as far as like the performance. A lot of people don't appreciate a good dominant performance unless it's a knockout. And I feel like a lot of people didn't appreciate Cris Cyborg's performance this go round. And I also want to just talk about the biased commentary, as usual, and it can be in boxing, sometimes the UFC or different MMA platforms, but they were just kind of showing a lot of criticism of Cyborg's performance. Joe Rogan, Dana White, it's kind of like they didn't appreciate the technical fighter that Cyborg showed on Saturday night. But just going back and looking at the fight, like I said, the texture was very much like I felt. Just got to give Felicia Spencer some credit as far as her toughness. But to me, what is toughness if you don't find adjustments and put together a solid win, or at least try a little bit harder than, what we seen, and again, I'm not knocking Felicia Spencer, but I'm more so knocking the fans that just give her credit for having a good chin. I mean, it takes more than a good chin, and it takes more than resilience to win a fight. You got to find a way to win. And it goes back to my thoughts on my last podcast episode. I said that Felicia Spencer wasn't ready for this fight. I felt like after beating somebody like Megan Anderson, that's kind of a wake up, makes everybody look. But it doesn't mean you're ready for, the former featherweight champion of the world who hasn't lost since the fight with Nunes, who went almost a decade without losing. You know what I mean? So just jumping in there with that type of fight was serious business. And I feel like somebody like Felicia Spencer, she was still on the come up. She was still on the come up to make noise and actually grow as a fighter, because she's earned a lot of wins, has some good stoppage wins, but they never really came where she had to make an adjustment as far as like technical skill, where she would have to break somebody down or, have to kind of slow it down and take her foot off the brake and actually, play chess with somebody. Most of her wins were just eye openers, for her to kind of build herself up. Her toughest fight to me was the Pam Bam Sorensen fight. Pam Bam came in there with a good technical style for the rounds that she was in the fight. And that kind of showed me that somebody like Cris Cyborg, who's a complete fighter, was definitely going to give her trouble, which she gave her more than that in this fight. And yeah, that's why I just say, like, for Felicia Spencer to take this fight, it was good that she was able to show her toughness, but you want to see more than toughness. You want to see readiness. You want to see a competitive fight, which this definitely was a competitive fight. It went 3 rounds, and a lot of people are giving her more credit than she deserves. I hate to make it sound like that, but her going 3 rounds and losing 3 rounds and never finding like a way to win doesn't really make me want to see her in a rematch with Cyborg, if that makes sense. It doesn't really make me feel like she's earned nothing more than a moral victory. And to me, like, there's not really moral victories in MMA or boxing. You either win or you lose, and that's it. It's victory or defeat, and that's it. And I feel like that's the way it went in this fight. But just going back and looking at the fight, man, first round open, Felicia, she took more of a cautious approach, which was smart. Cyborg kind of applied that pressure like I felt. If Felicia slowed down and didn't do much and kind of waited, Cyborg would apply that pressure, like I said, and she did that. She was able to dictate the center of the octagon and the pace, and she was able to land 2 good right hands right off top and a good body kick that looked like it hurt Felicia. And Felicia, she landed a good she landed a good right hand of her own, but right there you saw that it didn't do no damage on Cyborg. Felicia went in there for her first takedown, but Cyborg deflected, just like I felt. She would be able to deflect it. She has very underrated takedown defense. She's never had to really use it, because she's been able to take girls out with her power. But in this one, she had somebody come at her with a takedown and she deflected it. As she pushed her way out, she landed a big right hand that looked like, Felicia just took it on the chin. Didn't really hurt her, but, it kind of jarred her and made her think. And Felicia wanted to press it forward. She wanted to press forward, but it was like she was kind of being cautious. And when she did, there was one minute she did land a big elbow on Cyborg and opened up a clinch. It opened up a cut. It did open up a cut on Cyborg's eye. We'll give her that. But in that clinch, Cyborg was still able to use big knees. Like I said in the podcast, those big knees to the body were going to really get respect from Felicia, and that's what she did. those big knees would take kind of wind out of her from trying to throw Cyborg around. And if you look at it, Cyborg was on the fence, but she wasn't really like she was in trouble, like she was getting her energy sapped. She looked like she was just kind of holding Felicia, letting Felicia sap herself out. And that's kind of what she did to Holly Holm. When Holly Holm would pressure her onto the fence, she would just kind of sit there, kind of keep herself at a grounded position, a neutral position where she wasn't wasting energy, but her opponent's wasting energy by trying to press her. And I think that Joe Rogan, you know, he wasn't seeing the same fight. You know, he wasn't seeing how Felicia wasn't controlling the clinch. You know, she was just actually kind of held at a stalemate while Cyborg would just kind of hold her. He kind of felt like Cyborg was bleeding and exhausted already after the first round, but Cyborg was actually just using defense, trying to hold Felicia off and kind of let her wear herself out. And once Cyborg did turn it up, she was able to use that strength. You know, she would kind of spin Felicia out, which she did. She spun her out once and then landed just like 3 big right hands that backed Felicia up. You know, as soon as she spun out, she landed 3 big overhand rights that Felicia took well, but they did back her up and she got her respect. And then leg kicks from Cyborg, you know, they were just keeping Felicia at bay. You know, she was just like going to the head, going to the body with kicks. And another thing, man, Felicia striking is just not on Cyborg's level, so she really wasn't able to get a jab going, or she wasn't even able to work the cut. You know, she had that cut on the eye, and you know, blood, that's something you always can't. If you have some decent striking, you kind of work the cut with a good jab, but she couldn't even find a home for her own punches. You know, like she couldn't even feint or get in on Cyborg, because Cyborg would just turn it up every time she would try to step in. It was either knees in the clinch or it was a jab in the right hand to keep her back, and it was a takedown in defense. So just all around, you were seeing this in that first round. That's why I was like, man, I don't know if Felicia's going to last 2 more rounds, man. I was just kind of like, she's getting a lot of what Cyborg had to offer in that first round, man. And like a lot of people were saying, yeah, I do give her credit for that chin and her body. She was taking some heavy shots, but it was just showing you that first round was all Cyborg, and Felicia was in for a long night. Second round, man, open. And again, don't listen to the commentating to Rogan. You know, he kept saying that Cyborg was exhausted at the beginning of the round because of her making weight. He felt like she was depleted and she didn't have anything, but I didn't see any of that. I don't know what he was watching. Again, for me, Cyborg, she opened with a big body kick that landed on Felicia. Felicia, it connected, but she caught it. And still, she tried to go in for the takedown, but Cyborg was able to stay on her feet. And that's how strong and grounded Cyborg is. Like, as soon as she caught the kick, Cyborg was already on balance and was able to just kind of, you know, walk back with the one leg. And Felicia, she still couldn't get a takedown though. And that was my only way I had Felicia being able to pull off any type of upset in this fight, was getting Cyborg to the ground, and she could not do it, man. But because Cyborg's defense was that good. But Cyborg striking, again, man, just all around this round was just too much for Felicia. You know, it was like I said, her jab and her accuracy was just keeping Felicia on the outside. Felicia never stopped trying, though. But to me, there had to be something more. You know, she needed something in this fight. Like, her team, if they were going to put her in this fight, they had to go in there saying, we got to get this done. But it was like they didn't have anything. You know, they didn't have the timing or the game plan to get in on somebody like Cyborg or to land at a range. You know, Cyborg was just landing heavy rights every time Felicia stepped in, or even whenever Cyborg wanted to step in, she was able to land something. Again, big clinch in the knee kind of sent Felicia back. Cyborg, she was just having target practice in this fight. To me, she was just landing big Superman punches at the end of the round. Anything that she wanted to land, it was landing on Felicia. Again, Felicia showed a good beard this round. You know, she showed a good granite beard, but this was another Cyborg round. And again, I couldn't believe she made it out of this. But last round of this fight, man, pretty much went the same way. You know, Cyborg was just, you know, having target practice, man. You know, she was just able to land so many big shots. And towards the end of the closing minute of the round, she did land like one big right hand that kind of sent Felicia reeling back. You know, kind of sent her reeling back. She had her hands up almost like she was about to go out, but she bounced back, took another 1-2, 1-2, and she was hurt on the fence, but she came right back. There was just something in Felicia that made me say, wow, how can she take this punishment? You know, she took it all the way to the end of the third round, man. It was just crazy. You know, that was my thing. Like, it was too soon for them to put a fighter like Felicia in this type of fight. You know, you got somebody tough, you got somebody that's willing to go toe to toe. Well, let's try to develop her before we put her in there with somebody like Cris Cyborg. You know, let's try to get her right. Let's not just go in there and take punishment, you know, and that's kind of all she did in this fight. She just took a lot of punishment. She took a lot of it, where she took this much punishment in this fight trying to get in there. I felt like this could have been another victory for her against another featherweight, you know. If she would have took on somebody else like a Leah Letson or somebody, you know, just somebody in the featherweight division that they need to make, I felt like this could have been another build-up fight for Felicia instead of this one. Because who knows, man, like, people call this fight a moral victory where she goes in there and shows this type of fight against Cyborg, but what if it taken something out of her? You know, what if this could have taken something out of her as far as like maybe physically, you know, taking this many shots could have hurt her, or it could have maybe broke her will just a little, you know, it could have done something like that. Just like if you think about the Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia fight, like Mikey went 12 with Errol Spence, but shit, at what cost? You know, he took a beating in that fight. You know, a 12-round beating in that fight. So who knows what it took out of him? You know what I mean? Like, it could have slowly chipped away at the chin. Just like this fight, those shots could have slowly chipped away at Felicia Spencer's chin. But yeah, man. Overall, like I said, it was a very technical, dominant ass whooping delivered by Cris Cyborg. I mean, that's the best way you could put it, because she was just having a open target. You know, she was able to do everything in this fight. Show you a little bit of takedown defense, striking, Muay Thai kicks, everything she was putting together in this fight. And you know, I gotta say, I give respect for that. You know, she went in there, humbled herself after the Nunes fight, went in there, got some rounds in. But yeah, definitely with Felicia Spencer, like I said, I'm a fan of her, but I didn't want to see her in this fight. Honestly, like I said in my last episode, I didn't want to see her in this fight yet because I felt she wasn't ready, and she definitely wasn't. She definitely had the resilience, and she definitely had the heart and the chin, but she needed the technical experience. You know, she needed a way to get in with her jab. She needed a way to use her strength a little bit more effectively. You know, you just can't bull your way in all the time. You know, you got to time it. You know, you got to use your jab to jab your way in, but she couldn't get any of that done in this fight. So, yeah, it was all 3 rounds for Cris Cyborg, you know, all the way. But, yeah, like I was saying, Joe Rogan and them, man, that commentating was just kind of horrible, man. Like, sometimes you just got to call it out, because I felt like he wasn't watching the same fight, man, because, like, he's so used to Cyborg being dominant that he can't even go back and break her down technically, you know. He can't even go back and say, hey, like, you know, Cyborg's actually, you know, using patience this fight. You know, maybe she didn't want to go in there and just go for the knockout, you know, and put herself at risk. She just wanted to fight a more of a safe control fight, which she did. And even then she was landing big shots, you know. Even the fact he was talking about her body language, like she looked like she wouldn't be able to last. Like when she got to the 2nd and 3rd round, like she wouldn't be able to last. I was like, you know, Cyborg still looked in it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest. Like, watching this fight, she looked like she was in complete control. I mean, other than the little cut, which is going to happen, I feel like she controlled the fight. It didn't affect her performance. You know, she was still in there putting on the clinic on Felicia Spencer. And I just felt like, you know, they weren't giving her the credit where credit's due. You know, like I said, not every time a fighter, you know, is not coming with the knockouts, you don't have to go in there and like bash their performance and say, oh, they're putting they don't have the will to beat somebody. You know, they're fighting a safe fight, or they're being boring. You know, decision don't always mean a boring fight. You know what I mean? Like, if you really appreciate, you know, combat sports, you will appreciate what she was doing that night. And she just made, you know, somebody who wasn't ready look not ready. You know, that's how I felt. But yeah, man, overall it was a good fight. You know, Cris Cyborg did state that, you know, she wants the Amanda Nunes rematch. And on Twitter, Amanda Nunes said she was watching and she saw the fight, and she's ready for the rematch. So, yeah, I like that talk, man, because that's definitely a fight that the UFC needs right now. It's definitely a fight that Dana White needs to bring out this featherweight division, you know, to put some light on it. I mean, it's crazy because you got a belt, but you don't have any rankings, you know. So this is the only fight that's going to really keep it alive. You know, it's the only other fight that you got that's really going to keep the featherweight division alive. But yeah, man, again, like I said, I just called the fight down the middle. Like, I'm not being biased, or I don't know what Joe Rogan he was watching as far as like the performance of Cyborg. I just kind of felt like he was not giving her credit. You're giving too much credit to Felicia Spencer. Like, taking a punch doesn't really prove anything, you know. I mean, it proves that you can take a punch, but it's not going to win a fight. You know, it's one thing if you could take a punch to give one, you know, and you land it. But if you just go in there and take punches and let's say you stay in a fight for that many rounds, but you never find a way to win, that kind of shows what caliber of a fighter you are on. Like I said, you know, with Felicia Spencer, I knew she wasn't ready, but it really did show. Like, she proved me wrong about, you know, not being stopped. You know, she was able to go the distance, but she couldn't prove me wrong as far as like her skill set. You know, I knew that everything Cyborg was going to do, she was going to be able to do tonight, or last Saturday night. You know, I knew she was going to be able to do that, because everything Felicia was going to do was going to look amateurish compared to somebody like Cyborg. You know, I know that sounds harsh, but that's just the truth. Like, her going in for takedowns and trying to bully somebody like Cyborg wasn't going to happen, because when you step in, she's going to knee you. If she steps in, she's going to jab you. If you step in, she's going to counter you or just defend from your takedowns. So, you know, somebody like Cyborg's been around the block. She's done it. You know, she's won some, lost some, so she's going to know all that. But yeah, man, yeah, from here, I just want to see Cyborg and Nunes get their rematch on. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of favoring Nunes in that fight too. I am, because I feel like Nunes is just very scary with the power and a very, very complete fighter too. And she has that next level that kind of proves that she's not scared of somebody like Cris Cyborg. And I think that's very, very sacred in that fight. It's something very critical that you need to fight somebody like Cris Cyborg. And that's something a lot of fighters didn't have. But Felicia Spencer, man, from here, this was just a learning experience for her. So if they build this damn featherweight division up, I want to see her fight somebody at 145. That's all I can say. You know, bring some of the ladies over from Invicta. Bring these ladies back from the Tough show, get their asses up from bantamweight to featherweight, and make this division happen, because you got this lady, Felicia, who wants to be a featherweight and wants to potentially be a champion in the UFC. So you got to make this division happen. You know, you just can't have them there, you know, and they just can't fight each other all the time. You know, it just can't be Cyborg Felicia, Cyborg Nunes, Felicia Nunes, Felicia Megan Anderson. You know, that just can't be it. Got to bring the division back, man. But yeah, man, let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fight. Who you want to see Cris Cyborg fight next? What about Felicia? Is there a moral victory in MMA or boxing to you? Did she show more than a granite chin to you? To me, she didn't. But yeah, let me know in the comment section, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe to this. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. I keep doing little podcast episodes like this. It's Combo Breaker 99. #CB99 Talks. I'm out. Peace.